I play the guitar, I play the mandolin. I'm working on learning the banjo, learning a squeeze box. I would love to learn how to play the bagpipes someday. My retirement will just look like me just playing different music. I also, despite having multiple businesses and family businesses and 5 kids and married for 20 years, I love my downtime and peace and quiet in the middle of a bush. We make maple syrup, and so we have a 160-acre sugar bush. Wow. With a sugar shack and and just going for a walk in the trails that we have back there. Peace, quiet. That's what resets me.
Welcome to the Coachability Code podcast. This is your host, Jordan Ring. Coaches, you ready to be coached? Let's go. All right, everyone. Super pumped for this episode. As you've heard me say on pretty much every episode, when someone I have come on and I say, hey, I'm just super excited to have this person. I am authentically excited to have Jared with me here today. So Jared, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your time coming on this podcast. If you could introduce yourself briefly for the listeners, we'd love that.
I don't think I can introduce myself briefly. That's something that's not really in my realm. You hear the influencers and all the people, and it's like, you're supposed to have like 1 or 2 sentences that describe yourself and what you do. And you're supposed to focus on one business and making that one business big and beautiful and everything. And that's not me. That is not me in the slightest. I'm too interested in too many different things to be able to just narrowly focus in one sentence who I am and what I do.
Yeah. No, I get it. Let's start with just what you were up to today, because I think listeners will find that super interesting. If you don't mind sharing, you shared with me before we jumped on the recording here and said, hey, I did X, Y, Z, that all felt like totally different things. So
yeah. So what did my day consist of different things? It consisted of coming into the office at 5:30, checking in on my team. It consisted of having a coaching call with a great young entrepreneur who's 23 years old that's taking over his family business for an hour. It was talking and coordinating with my dispatcher and my project manager about a few jobs we have coming up on the turf farm that we have, talking to my business partner in an outdoor maintenance property company that we have about a big project, a big tender proposal that's due next week, and just lining up some finalities about that. It was going and working with some of our team here on the farm, moving some sheep and some cows to a different pasture, and probably another 100 different things that just don't come to mind right now. So my day consists of touching base with the girl that I have that works back at our egg farm. We have an egg farm with 13,000 chickens. So my day consists of just dabbing in the different businesses that we have all over the place, as well as family obligations and my personal stuff and life. And so it really is this huge cornucopia of what my life is.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And we'll dig into the various areas, even just that you have 13,000 chickens. That's fascinating. I know you've shared that with me before, but I'm sure there are people that would find that interesting. That seems like a lot. Like, how do you manage that? So let's start with just some icebreakers I like to ask in the show. If you have it, a favorite book, a favorite movie, and then one weird thing about you that you don't mind sharing with people.
Oh, favorite book, favorite movie, and one weird thing. There's very much more than one weird thing. Let's see. Favorite book would be Atomic Habits. I would have to say, if we're talking about nonfiction books, Atomic Habits or Tiny Habits, it's just excellent. Right up there with Compound Effect, Darren Hardy. Depending on what realm you're in as well for the space. So if you're in the agricultural realm, I would say Dirt to Soil by Gabe Brown. If you are in the financial business world, I would tell you Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. If you're in the athletic, pushing yourself physically, I'm a big fan of Goggins. So those are my top picks at the moment. If you're in sales, Chris Bosch, Never Split the Difference. I know there's more than one book technically, but there's so many different realms that I love, and I'm a big fan of personal development. But those would be my top picks right now. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's always a classic too.
Yeah, that's another good one. This is why I've thought about niching the question down and saying, okay, what's your favorite like coaching book? But I also feel like these books, even just thinking about How to Win Friends and Influence People and Atomic Habits, they're also cross-dimensional, or however you want to say that. Like, there's so much impact from each of those. And in the specific areas too. I could ask people like what their favorite, like you said, what their favorite finance book is or what their favorite business book is. But I like getting to know the people through that lens. It's cool that you have a lot. I mean, it seems like you're very well read in that way. Those are a lot of good ones.
Well, and specifically, I mean, those are the ones on top of my head that I would say have had the biggest impact on me
Mm,
up to this point, or at least in the last 12 to 24 months. I'd say those are the books that I've read that have had the largest impact on me. Some of them I've read a couple times. Like Atomic Habits, I think I've read like 7 times. Every time you
yeah.
pick it up, it's just fantastic. So those are top books. Top movies. Let's see. I would tell you the original Jurassic Park. I would tell you
Good one.
almost any Marvel movie. I am a huge Lord of the Ring fan. So the new series on Prime or the original or the new ones that are coming out. I am very much a geek when it comes to my movies. I like a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah, same. All the ones that you mentioned. My wife and I
Yeah.
both love any Marvel movie, and of course Lord of the Rings as well. She's not a big fan of the Jurassic Parks, but I like, especially the original classic Jurassic Park is a big one for me. Really good.
For me, it's the original because I was 10 years old when it came out. My dad took me to go see it, and it was the first. And I was a dinosaur geek as a kid. Just had
Okay.
all the dinosaur toys and stuff like that. And it was one of the first movies that they did big time with CGI and with the dinosaurs. And I remember reading news articles about it in the papers and just researching about how they had actually made the movie to be as realistic as it was at the time. And for a 10-year-old with an already active imagination, it was just huge. It was awesome. So there's
Yeah,
that
and
nostalgia point to it.
I am a sucker for those 80s and 90s movies. I don't know if that was, I guess that was in 80s probably around there, but like
93.
93, yeah, for me those sometimes some of them are just better than some of the most recent ones in terms of like that realism feel. I think sometimes the new age CGI can take you out of it a little bit. Like, that's so obviously fake. Whereas like Jurassic Park, I remember watching that for the first time, like, this is terrifying. This could happen. This could be me.
Yes, exactly. And then what is something weird about me? I don't know if it's weird or maybe just quirky. I love playing as many different or learning about any different type of musical instrument as possible. I play the fiddle, I play the guitar, I play the mandolin. I'm working on learning the banjo, learning a squeeze box. I would love to learn how to play the bagpipes someday. My retirement will just look like me just playing different music. I also, despite having multiple businesses and family businesses and 5 kids and married for 20 years, I love my downtime and peace and quiet in the middle of a bush. We make maple syrup, and so we have a
Hmm.
160-acre sugar bush
Wow.
with a sugar shack and and just going for a walk in the trails that we have back there. Peace, quiet. That's what resets me. So I'm very much as I have many activities, I very much love my introvert side and appreciate whenever I get to have that quiet time.
Cool. Okay, so Jared, we already kind of dug into this a little bit, and you said that you don't like to put it in a box, so you can use as many words as you need to define the box. But just curious, if someone does come up to you and say, "Hey, Jared, like, what do you do for a living?" How do you go about answering that in any way that kind of encapsulates all of the different hats that you wear? Does it depend on who is asking, or how do you kind of normally roll with that?
I think it depends. The person that's asking me is the person asking me based on marriage and raising kids. Are they asking me from a business standpoint? If they're asking me from a business standpoint, what industry are they asking me? Are they asking me from an agricultural standpoint? Are they asking me from a commercial landscape standpoint? Are they asking me from an overall business operations, finance, entrepreneurship standpoint? So it's really is, like you said it best, who is it that's asking? I would tell you that I am a person who is obsessed with business at all levels, whether it be hands-on from the ground, operations management, upper level vision casting, on all levels of business, in and out, automation, AI, down to basic bookkeeping. I love all forms of business. I am absolutely an obsessed lifelong learner. If there is something that gets a hold of me that I want to know more of, just do not stand in my way, because I will just obsess over it over a long period of time and talk about it and
Yeah.
talk to everybody about it, what I'm learning. And I am incredibly devoted to my family. And whether that means spending time with them on a movie night, or of the 5 kids, 4 of them are in hockey, and I'm usually on the ice with all of them in some form, whether it's coaching or whether it's just in bringing them to the arena. My oldest girl, she's involved in many sports too. And I'm huge a family man, and again, married 20 years, my amazing saint of a wife. Don't know how she puts up with me. And that is me in a nutshell, is the family, the business, and devoted to, if you're in my circle, I am absolutely devoted to you as a person, as an individual and a friend.
I love that. I love that so much. That was very well summed up in my mind.
Not one sentence. That's not
it's not one sentence,
a small
but
box.
Yeah. It gives me more of a sense, and I think it will help the listeners as well. So thinking about, let's talk about specifically the guy that you started with today. Maybe not started with it, but you talked to today about helping him with some business coaching, if that's how you'd even describe it. What made him come to you? What was he going through? What was he thinking about? I mean, you can share as much or as little as you want, but just curious. I'm really wondering why someone would seek out your service and say, hey, Jared, I'm struggling here, or I'm stuck in XYZ, and what would that be that you could potentially help walk them through?
Yeah, I'm starting myself, along with that love of business, is I have found over the past couple of years, I just love talking to other people in business. I love understanding their operations. I love understanding their story about how they started their business, specifically founders, owners, CEOs, specifically those that love their business, but also kind of feel trapped by it. Because I've been there, I've walked that route and in and out, and I love hearing their stories. And what that's developed for me is a desire to start being a business mentor in my own right. And I use that term very loosely because I don't want it. I try to say that with as much humility as possible, because certainly I don't have all the answers. I have made many mistakes with many zeros on the end of it. But if there is somebody that I can relate and help in that regard, and at least share my experience, well, then that's what coaching is. I think sometimes coaching can get a bad rap, so, same as a consultant can get a bad rap. And so I don't actually like using the term, but certainly to help someone who I see is in my shoes, that I've walked through, and at least guide them to a better outcome. So that's where this comes from. This is a young man from our church. I know his family. I've actually lifted weights with his father before. He's 23 years old, and one of those kids, he's like an old soul, and he's incredibly coachable, and he's listening. And I know exactly the emotions that he's feeling, the path that he's walking down. And it's like, okay, what would I say to myself, 20 years ago, if I was in those shoes, given what I've experienced? And that's all it is it just, I wanted to have some experience coaching people and having those conversations. And it started with him. And we've been doing it for a long time now. Every 2 weeks, we have a scheduled 1-hour phone call. And it's just going through what's he going through, what's happening in his life and his business. And then me giving him some insight and usually some homework about what is the next step. Usually I give him 2 or 3 tidbits of homework that he has to work on in the next 2 weeks, and I keep him accountable for it. If it's something that can be done in 3 days, well, then it's like, you're texting me in 3 days. I'm not texting you. I'm not holding your hand. You want this, you got to do it, but I'll hold you accountable. You got to let me know in a week, 3 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And it's been a wonderful experience.
So you said he's coachable. Do you feel like that is something that was ingrained in him early on? Is it something that he's had to work at? Where would you guess that he found that? I'm always wanted to not poke at, but like think about on this show. Where does coachability come from? Is it something that we can help people grow into? Is that part of the coaching process and the mentoring process? I'm asking this because some people come in and they are so highly coachable from the very beginning. That is just part of their nature. It's a part of their values or whatever. But I'm always curious, just thinking about, is that something that is natural to some people? Or is it something that could be potentially cultivated in people, even if they have it a little bit? So curious.
No, I love that. I love that question. I absolutely love. If we can dive into that for a little bit, because I think it probably has more than 2 parts, but just off the top of my head, it has 2 parts for me. One is, it has so much to do with your innate personality. I refer a lot to the DISC personality assessment or the color code. If you're familiar with either of those, are you the lion or are you the golden retriever? What are you? And I think that a lot of innate personality that has a lot of humility, that isn't afraid to be told that you're wrong in a respectful, non-personal criticizing manner, that if you can be said, no, you're doing this wrong, you need to do it this way, and you don't take it personally, and you know that it's actually okay, that is, I think, an innate trait. You don't get defensive naturally. You're not so prideful to think that you know everything. I've interviewed many people that, in the interview, they're the ones telling you how much or what you should be doing and everything. It's like, wow, you're not coachable at all as a team member. You're not it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
So I think innate personality and humility has a lot to do with it. I think the one that really I dive deep into is pain. I really relate with the ones that have gone through a lot of pain to get to where they are, the challenges that they've had to overcome, the crisis. And we're not talking just day-to-day challenges. We're talking deep, emotional, make you question if you are a good leader, make you question if you were meant to be a business owner or a manager, questioning whether it's all worth it or if you should just hang it up and quit. Those kind of painful experiences in business specifically that make someone go, I need help. I really need help. I'm going to get through this, and I know I'm going to get through it because I'm made for this, and I've been through worse, or maybe this is the worst it's ever been. But I still know, without a doubt, that I'm still going to make it through it, even if I don't know how. That seems to crack something open in people that goes, man, I could really use a hand here. Boy, this sucks. This really hurts. And while I would never ask for help, if someone was to offer it exactly, especially someone who's been through it before, boy, that would help me a lot. I think that opens up a whole realm of coachability, especially if you can find the right person who's experienced that emotional pain that can go, yep, and you're probably feeling like this, and you're probably feeling like that. And that's not going to go away just because you do this. And it's not all business philosophy and psychology. It's actual mud in the hands, down in the trenches, real life experience that makes someone go, okay, I'm going to listen.
Would you say then there's a lot of empathy on your part and the coach's part to be able to kind of see that or resonate with that?
On the coach's part or the person being coached?
I would say on the coach's part, because as you're saying that, you're noticing that from them, like they have this somewhat of a vulnerability. Not everyone will notice that. So I'm just thinking about coaches that may not be as practiced or may not even be as aware of their own levels of empathy. I'm just curious what your perspective is on that.
I can tell you that going through my own crisis and challenges, I can see it on people now. I can see the ones who have been through the battle and wear it, and not as a chip on the shoulder, to be clear. All right. Not because they're gruff, not because they're angry at the world, not because of anything like that. If anything, actually, they're usually incredibly calm. They're usually very incredibly well aware of who they are and where they stand. There's this inner security and confidence that they carry, not from a boastful perspective, but just from a I know what I can take perspective. And I can see it on those individuals. At the same token, yeah, you can see the ones that say they're okay, but really are not. And when you learn to see that on them, you can kind of poke the bee's nest a little bit and go, hey, I know you just said, yeah, I'm good, thank you. What's really going on? There's something up, but you're carrying it, you're wearing it. I can see it on you. And if you can approach it that way, that all of a sudden you're seeing them as a real human being and what they're going through, and they know that they know that you can see something, they can open up and have absolutely beautiful, incredible, sad, devastating, wonderful, uplifting, everything in between conversations.
Especially, I would say, considering like business leadership coaching, it's such an official sounding thing that it is more transactional and it's potentially less about the person. But I mean, I love what you're describing because to me, that makes sense. That's what resonates. Like if I'm going to work with someone as a coachee or a coach, I want there to be that connection and that deeper level of communication. I want to be seen by my coach. As hard as it is to experience that feeling seen, that's what I would want because the coach is then going to be able to help me the most.
Yeah. Because I mean, to be clear, anybody like so, and anybody can show you, okay, how did we go paperless? How did we integrate AI? How
Yeah.
did we set up an executive assistant? How did we set up a management team? How did we do this, do that, I could go on and on, right? There are so many people that have that experience. But how many actually have the trouble and turmoil that went with it, that had the initiative at
Yeah.
some point to go, you know what? I can do this a better way, and it may kill me, but I'm going to find a better way to do it. And then I'm going to show others how to do it.
All of those questions you can just Google the answers to, if that's all
Yep.
you want.
Yep.
Or do you want
Yep.
someone that can guide you through it, through that,
Yeah.
through the
But
turmoil, with the turmoil? So yeah.
yeah, who else? But who's going to, instead of just saying, yeah, here's how you go paperless, who's going to be the one that says, oh, by the way, when you're doing this, it's only going to be 80% perfect whenever you start. Everyone in your team is going to expect it to be 100. And there's probably going to be about half the people on your team that, even if it's 80% and better than it was, are going to say how much better it used to be. Every chance they get, every time they see something that goes wrong that only you can fix because you're the one trying to set up the system and make it better. And you're going to be frustrated with them, even though change doesn't kill a business. It's the transition. So now you're managing that transition, not of just the technology, but you're also managing the transition of the emotions and frustrations of your team. Boy, does that ever expand things rather than, okay, we're gonna see how we can go paperless.
Yeah. It's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother level of complexity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee everyone's going to go through it. And probably people listening to this are going to go, yeah, I've been there, boy, that was tough. It's the relatability. It's knowing what challenges are ahead, and having somebody in your corner that you truly trust and know has been there and to help you through it.
Yeah. Let's talk about someone who wasn't coachable. Now, you mentioned that you've had interviews with people and you could tell right away. So I'm curious, part one of the question, how can you tell right away? If we can dig into that a little bit. And then number two, if you've tried to work with someone that you realized maybe a little bit of the ways into it, whether employee relationship or whether like someone on a hockey team or somebody said that kid's not listening to me, or like whatever the story would be. Curious what stories you have or what instances of just being able to tell that someone wasn't coachable at all, and then curious like what you did as a coach to manage that. Manage isn't the right word, but you know what I mean, to kind of work
Oh,
through that.
yeah, exactly. I think there's so many different examples I can give from one extreme to the other. I can tell you about a team member that we had, and they were, even though they said that they were the best of this, best of that, they really weren't,
Mm.
truthfully, and they were breaking things and causing accidents and
Oh
causing a lot
man.
of strife for other team members. And then having a frank conversation with them and saying, and just again, they're bragging about their skills and everything, and saying it was like, I'm not, and me being like, I'm not that good. I got to tell you, I'm still learning. I've made mistakes. I've been running the equipment since I was 13, and I still make the odd mistake. They went on a tirade about how great they were and everything. And then you just let them talk and let them talk. And finally they realize that they're actually not impressing anybody. They're not,
Yeah.
if anything, they're just digging their own hole, and it's that moment of realization where it's you define the bus, and they don't fit in the seat. And usually they just let themselves, in this case, in this instance with this individual, they just let themselves off the bus. They literally just walked out after that conversation.
Wow.
And there was no screaming, there was no nothing. It was
Yeah.
just continually asking the questions, where it was never tearing them down or anything like that, but making it very obvious that they were the only one in the room that thought that they knew everything, and showing the humility of yourself and lowering that pride. So that's one
Hmm.
example. That was an extreme example. That was a very, very extreme example. The other one is, I love coaching hockey, because coaching kids hockey and I love being on the ice with the kids and behind the bench, and being there with the exciting plays and the disappointment losses, and guiding them through the emotions and pushing them mentally, physically, emotionally. Just love it, love it, love it. And I've had kids where you have a coach that you tap on the shoulder. It's like, hey, I need to corner this kid in the dressing room. Again, safety rules, two adults, in to make sure everything's kosher, and just sitting down with a young kid and going, hey, I've mentioned it passively 2 or 3 times. This is how I want you to play in this situation. You're not listening. and just being direct.
Yeah.
And you and it's like, you're great with your teammates. You have a great attitude. Your edge work and your speed is great. But in this specific play, in this specific situation, you're not listening. What has to be true for you to start working on this to become better in this specific play and situation? And it's, it's not berating. It's just having an open conversation. But it had to get to that point where it's like, okay, we're one-on-one with you. We're two adults talking to you, and we're treating you like an adult because you haven't been listening previously. And that usually, and using that word, it's like, we're talking to you like an adult here. We're not bringing you down like a kid. We're having an adult conversation, making them aware that it's like, okay, no, they're taking me seriously. This is a serious conversation now. I'm going to actually step up a little bit. And we're talking about 13-year-olds, 14.
Yeah.
Okay. I think to be clear. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still a great life lesson for coaching, that sometimes it can be too much buddy. Sometimes you just need the right environment, the right behavior, and the way you're talking to say, hey, I need you to take this seriously because this is serious to me. This is what you sign up for. And I expect you to behave this way and react accordingly.
And do you find that there are usually breakthrough moments in those kind of conversations where they kind of go, okay, I see what you're saying? Would you describe them as more like breakthrough, or is it more like they kind of get it and then you have to talk to them again? I mean, I know we're talking about 13, 14-year-olds, so probably.
No.
But yeah, just curious.
I have 100 hockey sports. Sports has so many life lessons with it. I love it. I could go on and on. This is a good one. Normally when that happens, I mean, they're teenagers, so they're kind of going, yeah. But then the next time the situation arises and they'll actually do the right play, and then when it works and they're coming back to the bench, all it takes is a look. All it takes is a pat on the top of the helmet and going, that's what I wanted to see. And then seeing the results, it's like, you did this, you used to do this, you did it this time, and that's what happened. So now we have proof that what we talked about, and you're acknowledging that it's the same old thing, right? The attitude and the actions that you want repeated, you compliment. Right.
Yeah.
You highlight beneficially, and then it'll get repeated again and again and again. So you're just doing that.
Yeah, I'm with you on the fact that sports are just so good. There's so many life lessons and just being involved in sports. That even like that story made me think of me getting coached in the sport I love to play, paddle, which hopefully my listeners are starting to figure out what this is, because I talk about it all the time. For you, it's a sport. If you haven't, have you heard about paddle?
No, sorry.
It's okay. It's a sport that basically it's not pickleball, but it's a mix between tennis and squash, and you can hit off the back glass. So I was spending too much of my defensive moves hitting a ball off the glass in the corner, and my coach would continually tell me, Jordan, like, you need to stop doing that. And then, but I share this, it got to the point where he eventually would just look at me and like throw a finger up, and I'd be like, yep, I just did that. So just that, it's so interesting that starting to think, even as an adult, like, it's so helpful to have someone sharing those things, and then being in that moment, being more aware of what's going on. I'm obsessed with sports and what we can learn from them, but just coaching in general, for that very, very reason of just having those moments where even without the coach, and I've had these like off the court when he's not even there, I've had the moments where I'm like, oh, I just did that. Okay, I did the thing that he told me. So it's like that continual learning where even the coach isn't present, just because I'm more aware of that situation. So, and that's just all that to say, man, I know kids learn so much early on from that. That just carries over.
As we're managing and coaching adults now, there are some people that, and it kind of brings the conversation full circle about what makes somebody coachable. There are some people that you can just have genuine conversations and go, here's what I'm observing. Yeah, here's what needs to change. And it's not awkward. It's not weird. Here's what I want. And it's actually somewhat mutual, because you're doing is you're sharing an observation and sharing how you might want something differently, but it's not in a confrontational way. It's not from a bossy standpoint. It really feels like a two-way conversation, a two-way street to improve things, right? And then there's others where you just have to be more frank, and you just have to be more abrupt, and you have to be more direct. And what's interesting is with them, That's usually the way they operate. They actually operate better with being
Mm-hmm.
more concise and direct. They don't want to talk a lot about it. It's just like, hey, smarten up, blah, 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 and then move on and everything's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but that's what I see, especially in sports. Some of the best coaches are the ones that speak to me in a different way than they'll speak to my partner on the court or speak to someone else. They know that they can start to tell, like, Jordan needs to be given the information in this way, but this other guy, like, he just needs direct. Or sometimes, as I've seen in some of the adult groups I'm in, some people are there to learn, but they're not really there to learn. Like, they're not coachable at all. And then the coach is like, I don't know what to tell you. I've told you this 50 times in different ways, and you're still not thinking through this. So all that to say, there's times where I feel like even as adults, and maybe you've experienced this too. I mean, yeah, you shared a story where you experienced this, but people that aren't willing to learn aren't willing to listen. And it's tough. What do you do with that? Like, what does a paddle coach or what does a hockey coach do with someone that's like, meh, I'm here to learn, but I'm not really here to learn. What do you do with
Yeah,
that?
there's something to be said about setting the expectation early.
Yeah.
I think before it even starts, because, whether it be a sport, whether it be an employee, whether it be a team member, whatever it is, it's like, here's my expectation of how I expect you to behave. Here's how I expect you to how we're going to communicate together. Here's how I expect you to deliver on the homework I'm going to give, because I invested in you. I invested in who you are and what you're doing. Let's go back to the coaching spits there, because I can go all over the place between team
Mm-hmm.
members and employees and kids hockey and everything. But from a coaching perspective, here's here's what I expect, and here's my framework. And if that doesn't work with you, we can still be friends. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Maybe I'm just not the person for you, but I'm doing this because whenever I'm talking to you, I need to believe that you're listening and that this is valuable to you, because I'm not going to waste your time and I'm not going to waste my time. And if you're upfront with that, boy, I think that sets the stage for a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think that's fantastic advice and just wisdom.
Yeah, true enough. No, we do that a lot. We do that a lot, whether it's the start of the hockey season, whether it's the start of a new employee coming onboarding on the team, whether it's the kids, my kids, or my family, or that. We set the expectation. We communicate the expectation from the bat, right off the bat,
Yeah.
so that there's no question. So at least you have a leg to stand on whenever the behavior is different. The first warning isn't, okay, hey, I know we didn't mention this at the beginning, but this is how I would like it to be from now on. The first conversation is, hey, just so you know, we already talked about this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't. This has already been addressed. It's like,
Yeah.
this is already spoken of. Now you have a leg to stand on to build from.
Yeah. Let me jump over in a different area. I'm curious about this as well, Jared. What areas have you been coached in? Doesn't have to be recently, it can be kind of whenever. And in those areas, how has that helped you to then have that to become a better coach yourself?
Oh, immediately. I think of three coaches that I've had that made an impact on me.
Okay.
One is when I was 16 and I was lifting weight. I wanted to learn how to lift weights. My dad was seeing somebody who had a gym just down from the high school, and when I was 16, I asked if I could join, and I did. And this guy taught me everything he knew about weightlifting. He was my fitness coach and friend, and he brought that love of weightlifting to me. He literally, his passion for lifting weights and bodybuilding and just that level of fitness, he was able to take that passion that was in him and transfer that to me, that I still love, even though
Mm-hmm.
he's been gone for a few years. And that was the start. And so that always left an impact on me about how much of an impact you can have on somebody else that you're close
Yeah.
with, how you can take the love and passion of what you're doing and passing that on to others. Because and especially in a positive way, like fitness and exercise. So that's one example.
Yeah. Can you just repeat what you said there again? I think for all the listeners, like they need to hear that again because that was so good and so positive. And like that's what I want this podcast to be for people. And I think that was just so uplifting.
don't know if I can say it again word for word.
Get
Just
close,
that,
get close. That the general idea
yeah,
is totally
just
fine because
just
it was
that
that good.
true coaching, I believe, is transferring your passion and what you're passionate about and what you love, passing that along to someone else that they can then carry throughout their life.
I love it.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm sure that the guy had no idea. I'm sure that, I was just another punk kid, scrawny, just, trying to learn. But that's the impact that he had on me. And I wish he's gone now, and I wish I'd been able to share that with him. I've shared it with his family since about the impact that that had on me. The second I would say is I was part of a group of other business owners that were our size. And the coach was more of a mediator rather than someone who had been through the trenches. And so that coaching experience for me wasn't so much as being led as it was about being surrounded by people who were going through the same thing at the same time. And then it was all the other business owners that were you'd ask a question, and the other business owners would offer advice about how to help. And then the mediator would be that. But for me, that was a plus and minus scenario. At the time, I really wanted to be more led by an individual. The other business owners and the people were incredible individuals. I have nothing bad to say about the experience. I was with them for 3 or 4 years. Incredible people, very valuable and helpful and relatable. And so I learned about the relatability piece of it, about how knowing that you're not alone, knowing that others feel the same way, even though there's not many of you. There's so many. You go to a party and people are complaining about their jobs and their work, but you can't really say anything because no one can really understand, what you're going through because you're the boss. You're the one running the show. And that can be very lonely. Understanding that the relatability piece is so important about finding a group or somebody that you can talk to that's going through this exact same thing that you are, or at least is at that same level, that same time, that same season that you're in. That relatability, boy, that can help sometimes to have someone to reach out to and just go, hey, this happened. And the other person goes, been there. That sucks. So the relatability piece. And that's all you need. You don't need someone solving the problems. You just need to know that someone else has been there.
Yeah, and I agree with that so much because I can share as a ghostwriter, I used to work in isolation. I used to not connect with other people that did what I did because I didn't know where to find them. I didn't know. So I don't feel guilty over not looking for other people. I didn't know. It was only a few years ago that I got connected with other people doing what I do, and wow, like it really opened up some doors to me, and just seeing how other people did it, their processes, not feeling alone, just getting connected with other people, especially on LinkedIn that do what I do. And yeah, they can relate to what I go through. And like when we have a conversation, a coffee chat, it's, oh, we're speaking like pretty much the exact same language. This is really good to have other people that do that. So I think that's great advice. And I mean, I've seen it for my life, and because I wouldn't have known the power of that before, even within the last 2 or 3 years, I would have said, I get that that's a good idea, but yeah, I don't need that. But yeah, check yourself. Are you working in isolation? Are you yeah, are there people around you that can relate to what you do and that you can share? So it's super important.
I never thought of it from the ghostwriting angle. That's fascinating. That really is eye-opening for me. I get it. I get it completely.
Yeah.
Third, I would say is being led from somebody who is and that's my current coach right now. He is light years ahead of me, like just unfathomable, almost couldn't say it there, um, ahead of me, that I couldn't even imagine being at his place where he is and his multiple businesses and everything. And being led by him, knowing that he, about just his overall vision, how he sees things, how he manages his life, how much he values his own time, and just how he opens your eyes to how valuable you truly are and how valuable your time is. And it really is, once you get that to that level, it's all about your own personal time management, not because you're any any better or no better than anybody else. I mean, again, I said earlier, I helped moving the cows and sheep earlier. but this is a new part of our enterprise. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to learn it. And then once I learn it and understand it, then I'm going to teach and systematize and coach how to do it so that someone else can do it. Because my time valued moving animals? No, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love learning
Yeah.
about it right now.
I like
But
it.
but as we scale to it being a larger operation, it's not the best use of my time
Yeah.
overall. But I still value learning it, right? But as somebody having that perspective and continually pushing you outside of your comfort zone of what you do, who you are, and your own limited beliefs in yourself and in your own world and your own capacity, and then all of a sudden offering advice that you would have never even thought of that could be
Hmm.
just 10x. Someone might say 10x to you. You need to learn how to 10x this, and you're going, yeah, right, right, with millions of dollars invested and a full
Yeah,
team
sure.
underneath me, and it'd be good. But then they kind of force you to work backwards, where it's like, what has to be true in order for that to happen? And you understand that maybe starting with just the small little action today and doing it continually over the time, all of a sudden, a couple of years doing that down the road, it's like, wow, that door would actually open for me to do this. So that coach then becomes, a destination that you didn't even think was possible at one point,
Mhm.
pushing you to go there. And even if you come up short, you're still way further than you would have been under your own terms.
No, that's so good. That makes me think of like I need to find someone who's like years ahead of me and think about that in terms of coaching because I can see how valuable just how you described it, how valuable that would be to have someone that's kind of guiding your footsteps before you even take them.
Yeah. And to be clear, they're probably going to be way more expensive than you want to spend.
Yeah.
Way, way more. But it's because once you get in there, you truly understand how much their time is worth, and you're probably actually getting a deal. So it really
Yeah.
is one of those things where you're investing that into yourself and to grow yourself and who you are as an individual in your own realm and where you sit.
Yep. So, Jared, we've talked about some great stuff on this episode. I want to make sure you get the chance to say all that you want to say. So I always ask people what their soapbox is, and then I prop them up and say, stand on it for a little bit and talk to us. It can be whatever. If there is a soapbox related to anything we talked about, great. If it's something completely different, you know, the time is yours to air all that.
Oh my goodness. So you're talking about where I hang out on social media, or are you just talking about stand in your soapbox and preach your thing?
Yeah, preach your thing.
I think I already have. If
Yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity, I feel like I've shared a lot of the coaching. I think if I have a soapbox, I would say that what comes to mind right now is about our own insecurities. I can tell you that
Mm.
I grew up as one of the most insecure kids that you could dream of. And I had amazing parents. I had parents that supported me and loved me
Hmm.
and told me they loved me and told me they were proud of me and gave me opportunities on the farm to learn, to work and everything. And yet I was still one of the most insecure individual teenagers that you could ever for no other right than my own. Didn't think I was athletic, didn't think I was good at sports, didn't think I was that smart. Just no, and only it was only me. It was absolutely only me.
Hmm.
But I would tell you that the path towards your inner strength and the path towards becoming a very strong and individual, somebody who can square their shoulders, somebody who can to stand up to anything that life has to throw at them, is by finding a passion that you have and just going all in for it. Learn everything you can. Expect to completely crash and burn as you start it. And you are going to just feel the most horrible than you will ever feel in your entire life going through it. And it'll be even worse than that. But if you can come out on the other side of that, then you're going to stand up one point walking through whatever it is that you're passionate about and go, I did that. I can do
Hmm.
this. At least I set my own pace. I set my own tone. I said there is nothing that I left behind, failed or passed or succeeded or nothing. There is just something to be said about leaving it all out there. And at the end of the day, knowing it's like I did everything I wanted. I did everything I could. And
Yeah.
and usually you're not going to feel like that's enough because there's still going to be more that you're going to want to do.
Yeah.
But that's how you that's how you stand up a bit straighter. That's how you get a backbone. That's how you have a little bit more confidence in yourself and who you are and what you do. And then the next thing you're going to do.
Love that. I think that is a wonderful, beautiful, amazing place to end it. So let me ask you the final question. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you more, if they want to engage with your content and what you put out there, or just if they just want to drop you a line and say, hey, you're doing good things?
So I post every day on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my spot. So if you can just look up my name, Jared Hamilton, on LinkedIn. I am also on Instagram posting the same stuff. That is my name, Jared W. Hamilton. Just one word, Jared W. Hamilton. And if there is someone out there that is what I said earlier, business owner, CEO, founder, that actually loves their business but feels like they're caught up in the weeds, I actually have an assessment available that you can take, and that it's just a simple survey that you can take, and you can actually get a score about how bad are you into the business. You know, how much does the business own you? And so all you got to do is just send me a DM that says freedom, and I'll send that to you, no problem.
Okay, awesome. So it's not there's not a link I need to share. They just need to connect with you for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Jared, thank you so much for that. I think that is a great potential resource. And I mean, I want to take that. No, I want to take this quiz. Like I want to know where I'm at, but no, that sounds super cool. Thanks for sharing that. And thank you so much, so much for your time. Honestly, it's been a great conversation. I always feel like I learn a lot in these, and I gain a lot, and then the audience gains a lot too. So thank you for your time. Super appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you.
Are you still here listening to this podcast? You're awesome. I got 2 CTAs for you. Number 1, subscribe to this podcast for more. And number 2, have you ever thought about writing a book? Contact Jordan. He can help you out. Jordan@jmring.com.